I'm here in this good light, building my own little matriarchy and getting ready to share some yoga. When I first set up a hot tent on this land, one of my immediate thoughts was how much I couldn't wait to practice here. I always love practicing outside, but it can be distracting. There's bugs and wind and cars passing by. But in the tent, it's different. It's so cozy. The babbling of the creek and the birds makes the perfect background noise. The ground feels soft underneath me, and the light filters in gently different ways throughout the day. And it feels like being outside, but more contained and more held. And it just feels so right. Even though it's a temporary dwelling, it's always a great place to return to, and the yoga mat is the best place to return to. This has all been a bit of a renaissance for me, falling back in love with yoga again, going back to my books, studying mantra, exploring the goddess traditions, going back to class, but this time in a new era, a new chapter for me, and historically in this age of emergence. I chose this path and this land as a response to the way the world is changing, not to disconnect or isolate from it, but to deepen into my values, to build my skills, and to be someone who can be of real service when things are uncertain. At some point, it wasn't enough to notice what needed to change. There's a teaching that knowledge is meant to interact with the world, and that what we learn is meant to move through us into action. Without that movement, awareness can start to feel overwhelming or disorienting. So here I am stepping back into my practice, inviting you to join me. Not as a way to avoid what's happening in the world, but as a way to stay connected to ourselves within it. To keep the mind and body in relationship. To stay rooted in the center of who we are. To connect with others who value what we value and who love what we love. That in itself is a kind of divine resistance. So as we begin, see if you can allow everything you've experienced, everything you're carrying, to be a part of your path and not something in the way of it. The obstacles aren't separate from the path. They are the path. And the destination is right here. So with that, go ahead and find a comfortable seat on your mat. Hello. Welcome to a slow flow for springtime. For this practice, it will require 2 blocks and a blanket and your mat. We'll be doing a creative sort of slow flow that will loop together a few times so you'll be able to remember it. And we're wanting to create some pacifying of vata season. In Ayurvedic philosophy, spring is known as vata season, and it reflects a lot of the erratic temperatures, a lot of the hot and cold, chilly, windy. We're really wanting to fully blossom into springtime, and we're just not quite there yet, so it can be kind of frustrating and aggravating. And the slow flow is meant to bring us back to our center, bring us back to some intentional movement. I hope you like it. Tell me what you think. We will begin in Supta Baddha Konasana, lying down. With feet together and knees wide apart, we'll place the blocks underneath our knees. If you have a lot of pain in your hips or your pelvis, you can bring the blocks up higher. But I also recommend you think about pressing your feet together to support the hips and the pelvis as well. So find a comfortable lying down position. Your hands can be by your sides, or perhaps one hand on your belly and one hand on your sternum, whatever feels comfortable for you. As we're using this simple opening pose to ground and center and find some stillness and invite the nervous system into a different position to say, hello, we're going to practice some yoga now. And we'll do that by letting the spine affirm itself onto the ground and letting the rise and fall of the breath be natural and neutral. You can gently let your eyes flicker closed if you would like. And start to use some words in your mind to connect some different sensations in your body. My feet feel warm. My belly feels soft. My head feels heavy as I gently lengthen through the crown of the head. My chin tilts slightly towards my chest. You can notice the soft curves of the spine as the low back lifts gently up off the ground. And the shoulder blades ground down into the mat as the heart and the sternum are able to lift and rise on the inhale. We notice the front body and the belly rise as well. And soften, kind of recoil on the exhale. Let's bring our awareness to the back of our body. See if you can keep the front of the belly still and slightly toned as we breathe into the back of the rib cage, the lungs, and the heart. We are creating diaphragmatic breathing here. Letting the eyes, the space around the temples, and the third eye, the space around your hairline be soft, your jaw be soft. As we let go of all the things that we're bringing to this practice today, try to spend an intentional hour just focusing on the connection between our mind and our body and some movement. A few last grounding breaths here, and then we'll get up to seated. Let's start to bring awareness back to what we're doing. You can let your eyes flicker open if they're closed. And to come out of this position, we'll close our legs like a book and roll over onto your favorite side. In the fetal position, use your hands to press yourself up. Yay! We're going to move into a shin stand for opening warm-up sequence. And what that means is sitting on a block on your shins and then sitting back onto the block. Find the position that's comfortable for you. My hips are very narrow. If you have wide hips or very long legs or bad knees, you're welcome to make the block wider, like that, or higher, or you can add a second block to be taller. Find your shin stand, and we'll start placing the hands on the tops of the thighs and just creating some shoulder circles. Rotating the shoulders back onto the body and away from the ears. Feeling the shoulder blades squeeze together as we do this. And find neutral, and we'll roll the shoulders forward, rounding forward and feeling the shoulder blades spread away from each other. Do these flossing motions as slowly or as quickly as you like. If you want a more somatic movement, you can go really slow. And once again, find neutral. We're going to play with activating the upper body and trying to wake up the side body as well. This beautiful big muscle, the latissimus dorsi, we're going to try to wake it up and find it a little bit, and that will help us support our shoulder work. Right? So placing the right hand on the top of the right thigh, we're going to cactus the left arm out to the side. Feel the shoulder blade retract onto the back of the body. Squeeze the elbow down towards the left hip point. Inhale, find length through the spine. Exhale, straighten the arm out to the side and then bring it forward, reaching the arm out as much as you can, spreading the fingers wide and feeling the arm bone kind of protract away from the shoulder head and the rib cage. And then think about squeezing the side body muscle here as we inhale, protract. Feel the scapula move on to the back body. Exhale, round forward and reach. Inhale, squeeze, and bring the arm towards. 3 more times like this. Exhale, reach and protract. Inhale, draw in and retract. Try to keep the neck releasing away. This time we're going to reach away and protract, and then we're going to keep bringing this arm around the whole front of the body and give yourself a little half hug. Exhale, draws the chin down towards the chest. Inhale, feel the back of the neck and the back of the skull opening and stretching. Please draw the chin over to the left shoulder. Exhale, draws the chin back to neutral, center of the chest, and then let it drift over to the right shoulder. Feeling the space that we're making in the back of the rib cage and the side body. Lean forward to unwrap yourself and bring the left arm back down by your side. And we'll repeat this with the right arm, bringing it initially out to a cactus. Think about drawing the elbow down towards the hip point. In retraction, and then we're going to straighten the arm back behind, reach the fingertips out, spread the fingertips wide, and then we'll reach forward and protract round the shoulder forward and feel this head of the arm bone kind of separate away from the shoulder blade and the rib cage. And then we'll inhale, retract. Exhale, reach and round. Inhale, try to activate this latissimus dorsi side body. Exhale, round. We'll do this. Inhale, retract. 3 more times, please. Reach and round. Inhale, squeeze. Reach and round. Inhale, pulls the shoulder blade onto the back body. Last time, reach and round, and then we're going to hug and draw that arm all the way across the body for a neck stretch. Let the chin softly lower down towards the chest to your comfort level to find the space through the back of the skull. Think about it as you breathe into the back of the neck and the skull, creating a little opening, a little release of tension. Gently let the chin drift over to the right shoulder. And let the chin drift back down to center before bringing it over to the left shoulder. Beautiful. Lean forward to unhug yourself and give your shoulders a few circles, and then we'll find our second block and place it in between the forearms for just a random activation drill. As we think about pulling the elbows in towards the ribcage and the side body, tone through the core, resist against the block and lengthen through the spine. And then we're going to bring the block in front of us with the arms in 90-90. Spread the fingers wide and keep squeezing the blocks. Feel the shoulder blades setting onto the back body as we do this. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Squeeze the thighs in towards the block. And breathe. Couple more breaths here. Notice that as you energetically pull the elbows down towards the hip points, you're also lifting and broadening through the collarbone and the sternum. Perfect. Exhale, release. And let's find tabletop on blocks. And we're going to use the high setting of our blocks to find tabletop. And this is also going to be a great time to put this blanket under your knees. Find the highest setting of your blocks. Press your hands into the blocks to create a little more space. Tuck your toes, press your heels away, and lengthen through the crown of the head, neutral tabletop. We're going to shift the weight onto the right side of the body and bring the left block down to its medium setting. Grip the skinny edge of the left block and let your shoulder do some diagonal pendulating from front to back. If you have the space to do so, you can also go from left to right. Switch sides, placing the left block on its highest setting and bringing the right block down to medium. We'll create this diagonal pendulating motion. A few times, and then maybe from left to right a few times, or right to left. Whatever you think is correct. Groovy. Place the blocks down onto their medium setting. Let's find a tricep stretch as well as a child's pose. Ooh. Place your elbows on blocks and start to let your hips sink down towards your heels. Pull the belly in towards the back of the spine as you let yourself sink down into the child's pose of your comfort level. toning through the triceps as you press through the elbows to create stability in the shoulders and the arms. And that stability is what's letting the chest soften down towards the ground. Wonderful. Inhale, straighten the arms and lift up out of the stretch back to neutral tabletop pose with hands on blocks. Do all the things that you like to do in tabletop pose while you're wiggling and giggling. Okay. And then once again, we'll shift our weight to the right side of the body, the right block and the right leg as we stretch the left leg back behind. Find a back of the leg stretch here. You can come from the tippy toes, the big toe mound, to more of a back of the leg stretch as we press the heel back. So you can pendulate back and forth a couple of times, but we don't want to hang here for too long because we have a little bit of work to do. So place your left block onto its medium setting once again. And lift your tricep, lift your arm up. Think about squeezing your tricep up. We're going to do this 5 more times, 8 altogether. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Place the block back down. Lean slightly forward, soft bend in the elbows, and lift this left leg. Point the toes for 8, 7. Squeeze through the left glute. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Place the left foot down where it is and then shift it so that it's parallel to the back of the mat. We're going to kickstand our right foot back behind and create a happy modified side plank pose, lifting our hand up into the air with the block in hand, and we'll cactus the elbow down towards the hip point, squeezing the glutes a lot. Exhale to release. Adjust the feet and the hands so that we find ourselves in neutral tabletop pose once again. This time we'll shift the weight to the left side of the body and extend the right leg back. Move and groove for a breath or two, just finding a good back of the leg stretch. And then we're eventually going to find our neutral bird dog here. And we'll start with our little tricep activation. So find the skinny edge of the block on medium setting and lift and squeeze for 8, 6, 5, 4, 2, last one. Exhale, place the block down, soft bend in the elbows as we lift the right leg, point the toes, squeeze the glute for 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Place the foot down with the toes tucked, and then we're going to shift it so it's parallel to the back of the mat. Shift and kickstand this left foot as well. And we'll open up into our modified side gate, holding the block, cactusing the arm, drawing the elbow down towards the right glute, and opening up through the heart. Exhale to rainbow the arm out and back towards our neutral tabletop pose. here in neutral tabletop with hands on blocks. We'll find some proper cat-cows for a few breaths. Fingers spread wide, pressing through the blocks. You can keep a micro bend in the elbows if you want. Inhale, let the belly soften and the gaze and the sit bones rise. And exhale, start at the mid back and then round through the pelvis and tuck the chin like a Halloween cat. Inhale to tilt. Exhale to round at the pace of your own breath for 3 more. Let's place the blocks over to the sides of the mat and come forward into Sphinx pose. So onto our bellies, you can keep the blanket where it is if it's comfortable. And then we'll place one block in between the thighs. And one block in between the forearms, like so. Remember when we were squeezing the block before in our shin stand? This is the same kind of idea. So we're squeezing the forearms into the block and energetically pulling the elbows towards the hip point, and this is going to help us lengthen through our spine, lift up and broaden through the sternum and the collarbones, lift the gaze, press the back of the skull back. Sphinx pose. Exhale, lets the chin soften down towards the chest. Let the chin drift over to the left. Back to center. Let the chin drift over to the right. Back to center. And we'll inhale. Place our hands down underneath the shoulders and use your hands to press yourself back up to tabletop. Let's find a proper child's pose to give our arms a little rest. I'm enjoying hands on blocks and finding a deeper chest stretch. If you just want more of a regular child's pose, you're welcome to ditch the blocks. I'm trying to keep my arms lifted and engaged as I let my chest sink down. Also squeezing gently through the thighs and the legs. Inhale, use your hands to press yourself up to shin stand. Wonderful. We're going to move our way towards standing, and we'll find an Uttanasana pose to do so. So walk your hands forward. I do want us to continue to use the blocks. And I have a really sticky situation here. I have a sticky mat, cork blocks, and I'm on the ground. So my blocks and my body kind of mold themselves to this space. If your space is slippery, and again, you don't want to use the blocks, that's perfectly great. We're going to tuck the toes and lift the hips and stretch back to our first down dog. Use the space that you have with the blocks, giving you a little bit of extra length to play with bending one knee at a time, having the extra space through the front body. Maybe bend both knees, lift the sit bones up really high, and then exhale and try to straighten the backs of the legs out and let the hips, the heels rather, soften down towards the ground. Use the hands and the strength of the arms to press the blocks on the floor away. Maybe drawing the chest closer towards the tops of the thighs. You can even play with pressing the back of the skull back, finding that opening in the back of the neck that we've been working on. Look forward towards your hands. Come up onto your big toe mounds, tippy toes, and start to walk the hands and the feet towards one another. Start to walk the feet towards the hands. Yeah. So we find ourselves in Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And bring your blocks up to their highest settings. Let the front body hang forward. If your hips are really tight or your back is wanting to round, bend your knees to accommodate this stretch. You've got blocks, and you can bend your knees as much as you want to gently stretch out the hamstrings as needed. So you can inhale and let the front body stretch and hang forward. And exhale, maybe deepen into the stretch, lengthening the back of the legs. Inhale brings us to a flat back, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, soften, round, and hang forward. Inhale, round through the spine, and slowly roll your way up to stand. Yay. Yay. Welcome to the standing portion of our class. Standing somewhat towards the center of the mat with the blocks on their highest settings in front of you. Place your hands on your hips and shift the weight to the left side of the body. Find lightness in the right leg. And we're just going to place the right foot in between the blocks and go boop, boop, boop. Then we're going to bend the right knee and do so 5 more times, but this time pulling the right knee in towards the chest for 3, 2, 1. This is going to get annoying. We're going to boop, bring the toe and tap it on the outside of the block for 5. 2. And last one. And the last drill we'll do will be tapping the toes on the left block for 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. You're going to keep the knee lifted and this time swing the leg around all the way to the back of the mat, so we find ourselves in a warrior 2 position. Do your work in your warrior 2 to try to center the hips as much as, or to try to center the rib cage over the hips as much as possible, extending the left knee towards the toes and keeping the back thigh lifted and hugging onto the femur bone. We'll extend our arms out to T. Reach through the arms, and we'll bend the left elbow and find the left knee. Extend the right arm over the ears. Extended side angle pose. We're going to sweep this right arm down, reach and protract as we've been doing, and then we're going to find our right block on its medium setting and pulse the back of the arm up to the sky. Tricep pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep squeezing through the hips as we windmill the arm out and open. Cactus the arm open, pull the elbow towards the hip point A heart opener here. Exhale to rainbow the arm over the ear and bring the block down towards the ground. Lift the back heel, come up onto the back toes. Find your other block and place the knee down. So we're in a low lunge. Take a moment here in your low lunge to squeeze the legs in towards one another and feel the front of the quad stretch as this front left knee extends forward. Lift the gaze. Low lunge. Let's use our blocks to shift back into a half Hanumanasana stretch, half splits pose. So we'll straighten the leg, the front leg, the left leg, as the hips sink down towards the back right heel. And similar to Uttanasana, we play with inhale coming to a flat back and lengthening, and exhaling, bowing forward. Press the heel into the mat and away from you to deepen the stretch. And then we'll inhale, bend the front knee. We'll come back to our lunge pose. We'll make our way into a supported warrior two by kickstanding the back leg back and opening the arms out and open into supported warrior two. Very similar to what we just did. We'll bring the elbow to the knee, extend the arm forward, reach, find your block. Just one beat back in your tricep pulse, and then we'll inhale, rainbow this block out and up, and we're going to bring it back behind to meet the ground as the front body shifts and leans back. The left arm cactus is open to the sky and the left elbow pulls down towards the hip point. Rotate the chest open, rotate the rib cage. Little heart opener. Exhale to round forward and bring everything back to our low lunge. Readjust the back leg. We're going to stretch back for one more half splits pose. Half Hanumanasana. We'll let the hips sink down towards the back heel and shift this front leg moving towards straight, moving towards pressing the heel out and away as the front body bows in and down. Inhale to lift out of the stretch. Frame the foot with your blocks. Inhale to lift. Place your hands on your hips. Lean forward. Little stretch. And then nice and stable in more of a 90-90 lunge, we'll play with boop, boop, and then eventually bringing the left knee to meet the right in a little miniature camel pose. We'll play with those self hugs. Go post the arms out and open, stretch the heart. Exhale, sinks the hips. Give yourself a hug, right arm over lift. Inhale to lift and cactus. Exhale to round and hug. And we'll inhale, find neutral, tabletop pose, hands on blocks. Walk your blocks forward and your feet back. We'll find our downward facing dog. Stretch back to down dog. Lifting the hips up nice and high. Using the traction of the arms, pressing away into the earth. Let the chest shift back towards the upper thighs. Keep a micro bend in your knees if your hips or hamstrings are tight, or if you're very hypermobile and you want to create more strength in your legs rather than flexibility. Roll onto the big toe mounds, lifting the heels, and one little foot at a time, start to walk your feet forward to Uttanasana pose. Here in standing forward fold, once again, generous bend in the knees here to let the belly lay down towards the thighs and the front body hang forward. And then we'll inhale, press through the blocks, come more towards straight through the legs and the spine. Come to a flat back. And exhale, round and curl. Inhale, lengthens to a flat back. Exhale, round. Inhale, place the blocks on their high setting and roll all the way up to stand. Take a centering breath here in standing mountain pose, Tadasana. And we'll do the other side. It's other side time. Shift your weight onto the right side of the body. Ah, yes. Shift your weight onto the right side of the body. Feel the right glute squeeze onto the top of the femoral bone and get light in your left leg. Soft bend in the knee as we extend the leg forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yuck. We'll swipe around and do a rainbow for 5. Keep lifting the knee. 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll bring the left leg over to the inside, to the inner block, and boop. 4. Yuck. 2. And 1. Keep elevating that knee upwards. We'll rotate the leg out and bring that down to a warrior 2 pose. With the front knee extending forward and stacked over the ankle and the back thigh lifting, we'll try to center the rib cage over the pelvis as much as we can, squeezing into the thighs. Bring the arms out to T. Warrior 2 pose, reach the fingertips away and release the shoulders down away from the ears. Look out over the right hand. You're going to find extended side angle pose from here. So bend the elbow and bring it to the top of the right knee. And bring this left arm on top of the ear. Rotate the gaze, look up towards the arm, and breathe. Exhale, reaches the arm forward and away. Reach the fingertips out and away, and then let that arm come down. Find the skinny side of the block, and we'll tricep squeeze a few times. And then we're going to inhale, rainbow this block out and open, cactus the arm, and pull the elbow down towards the hip point as the heart rotates up towards the sky. And exhale to release, back to extended side angle pose. Letting the block release down, we'll come into our low lunge by letting the back heel turn up. And letting the back knee lower down. Here in low lunge pose, we're finding length through the front of the hip flexor and stability through the right foot pressing down as we lift the sternum up to the sky. Exhale brings the chest forward. Find your blocks and we'll start to sink the hips back towards half Hanumanasana, half splits pose. Adjust the block and the feet as needed. We're pressing the front heel out and away as this back knee also drives out and away. So the legs are like scissoring away from each other. And this tension, this resistance allows the chest and the torso to bow down on the exhale. Inhale, bends the front knee, and we'll kickstand that back leg towards parallel or some kind of diagonal to find our supported warrior two pose. Inhale, windmill the arms to supported warrior two. Yay. Bend the front elbow, bring it down to the knee, and we're going to repeat what we've been doing. Find that block, tricep pulse up just the one time, and then we'll windmill the arm back and around and away. Let it land towards the back of the mat as the front body opens. The right arm cactus is out towards the sky. We're squeezing the butt. Bring the top arm up by the ear and round forward to come back to our lizard pose or a low lunge. Stretch for a beat in low lunge, and then we'll let the hips sink back to our additional half Hanumanasana pose because it's so good. Do it twice. Inhale to place the blocks in front, frame your foot with the blocks, and then we'll bend the front knee, find a little bit more of a 90-90 lunge where we're really stable through our hips, and then shifting the weight onto the left side of the body, play with lifting the right foot, and bringing it around to meet the left in shin stand. Oh, here in shin stand, let's find a little baby camel. Goalpost the arms out and open. Exhale, sinks the hips. Self hug, right arm over left. Tuck the chin. Inhale lifts us to a little baby camel. Exhale crosses left arm over right. Self hug. Inhale, lean forward. Remove the blocks. It's that time. We're going to repeat this whole sequence, but a little bit quicker and without the blocks for our second sun salutation. So placing the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're here in neutral tabletop. Tuck the toes, lift the knees and the hips, and we'll stretch back to our downward facing dog. A few breaths here in downward facing dog before we deeply bend the knees. Look forward. You can either walk or hop your feet forward towards Uttanasana. In Uttanasana, standing forward, full deep bend in the knees as the belly hangs forward and the torso hangs forward. Let the front body bow down. Inhale to straighten and lengthen through a flat back, gaze forward. Exhale to soften and round. Inhale lifts us all the way up. We'll bring the arms with, shrug the shoulders up by the ears, big stretch from fingertips to toes. And exhale, release. Beautiful. Shift the weight onto the left side of the body and lift the right knee up towards the sky. Pulse a couple of times, and then we'll externally rotate this leg out to the side and bring it down, warrior two pose. Shifting and adjusting in warrior two pose. Hug everything into the midline. Feel the thighs hugging onto the femur bones, the outer edge of the back foot and the outer edges of the front foot hugging into the mat, creating length through the spine, rotating the rib cage so it's adjusted over the hips, and bringing the arms out to T, warrior two pose. Gaze over the hand. One big deep breath here as we bend the left elbow towards the left knee, extended side angle pose. Stretch it out here, and then we'll windmill the arm out in front, reach forward, no blocks, but we will stretch the back of the arm up. Notice how it feels to try and squeeze and find the tricep without the block. Inhale to windmill the arm out and open opposite direction, cactus the arm to the sky. Delish. Rainbow the arm over the ear, lift the back heel, and we'll place our hands down on either side of the front foot, lower the back knee down, low lunge, lengthen from the tailbone through the crown of the head. And exhale, sink back to half Hanumanasana pose. Inhale, rounds forward. Bring the back leg to a diagonal and supported warrior two pose. Open the arms out to T in warrior two. Squeezing the hips in towards the midline. Leans forward and brings the top arm over the ear, extended side angle supported pose. Bring it all the way around, and we'll lift up into our little tricep pulse. And then in the opposite direction, windmill it all the way around and back towards the back of the mat to find fingertips or something behind you, maybe a block. And we'll inhale, rotate the rib cage and the heart open to the sky. The left arm pulls down towards the hip point. Exhale, draws the left arm over the ear, and we'll round everything forward and bring the hands back towards the front foot to frame it. Find a breath in low lunge, and then we'll sink right back to half Hanumanasana pose. Inhale, bends the front knee, frames the foot with the hands, and exhale, bring the left knee back to meet the right. Vinyasa of your choice here. I'm going to choose to lift my knees and come through high push-up position. And exhale, keeping my elbows close to the side body. Inhale, roll the shoulders back and away, and lift into cobra pose. Exhale, lowers the chest down, tuck the toes, and come up back into your high push-up position, down dog. Bend your knees deeply in down dog, look forward, and you can either walk, hop, or step your feet forward to Uttanasana. Find the four corners of the feet here in Uttanasana as you feel the leg muscles hugging onto the leg bones, and you use the hands to lengthen to a flat back. Exhale, bend the knees and soften. Inhale, we'll rise all the way up to stand, bringing the arms with us, squeezing the shoulder blades up to the ears. Big, big stretch. And exhale, release. Please shift the weight onto the right side of the body. Find the four corners of the right foot. And bring the left knee up to pulse a couple of times, and then we'll externally rotate that knee out to the side and let it land in a warrior two position. Front knee over the ankle, extending towards the second toe, and the back leg, outer edge of the foot parallel to the back of the mat, and this front heel is going to intersect about the arch of the back foot. Bring the arms out to T, warrior two. Bend the right elbow and make a C curve towards the front thigh. Extend the top arm over the ear. Extended side angle pose. Exhale, reach the left hand and arm forward. Protract. And then bring that arm all the way down and pulse the tricep up to the sky. Inhale, windmill the arm up and back, cactus the arm open. And exhale, release, move through extended side angle pose, and eventually framing the foot with the hands lifting the back heel up and lowering the back knee down to find our low lunge on the other side. Breathe into your low lunge here, making space from the tailbone through the crown of the head. Shift the hips back towards half Hanumanasana. Inhale, rounds forward. We're going to make our way to supported warrior two, kickstanding this back foot towards a diagonal and lifting the torso to find our supported warrior two. Start to make a C curve forward, bringing the right elbow to the knee. And windmill this top arm out and over, reach forward. Squeeze the tricep up towards the sky, and then we'll windmill back to find a heart opener in the opposite direction. The left hand can come down to fingertips or a block, and the front body can open, squeeze, feel the shoulder blades retract onto the back of the body as the sternum and the heart rotate open. Exhale to round, make your way forward, back towards a low lunge. Take a moment here in low lunge before shifting back to our last half Hanumanasana stretch. Inhale brings us back through low lunge. Start to rise up to more of a 90 lunge. Find your hands on your hips and then shifting the weight to the left side of the body. Boop! We'll bring the right leg over to meet the left. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the thighs onto the femur bones, open the hip. Open the heart. Baby camel, exhale, sit on the hips, and this time we'll cross the left arm over the right. Shift back like a Halloween cat. Inhale to lift into our baby camel pose. And exhale, right arm over left. To sink the hips. And inhale, come forward. Through tabletop, we're going to repeat our Sphinx pose. So come down onto the belly. We did it before with blocks, but this time we're winding down, unless you would like the blocks. We'll do a Sphinx pose, just without. It's still pressing the pelvis and the pubic bone into the mat and squeezing the glutes. The stability in the hips and the pelvis will help us draw our heart forward. You can pull the elbows towards the rib cage. Let the chin drift down towards the center of the chest, making that space in the back of the neck. In the back of the head. Let the chin drift over to the left. Back to neutral. And over to the right. Back to neutral. Inhale, this time we'll lift the gaze straight ahead. Think about pressing the back of the skull back. Stay toned through the core to support the curve of the low back. And release. We're going to find a pigeon prep pose here. So shifting the weight onto the right side of the body. Let's bring the left leg forward. There are lots of ways to modify this pose. Placing a block under your hip is the most popular. I would like to encourage us to stay very active so that you wouldn't need as much support, because we're gonna stay here. So in your pigeon pose, your heel can be coming in towards your pelvis. If you want it to be, you can shift your shin towards parallel to the front of the mat if you want to move towards that as well. But in my practice, it is okay to compensate by letting the heel come towards into the pelvis. I'm going to try and center my pelvis, my hip points, towards the front of the mat and squeeze my glutes a lot. And this is a pigeon pose, like a proud pigeon. We're going to come up onto fingertips and lift the sternum. And look up. And then maybe now exhale and shift forward into our pigeon forward fold. Use your hands to press yourself up and out of the pose. And then shift your weight over to the left so that you come to sit. And you can just switch sides by swinging the right leg around and the left leg back. So I'm going to find a little bit more of an active pigeon shape. Because I just want to find stability through the hips before I let them stretch and relax. So we're pressing through the fingertips. We're squeezing everything into the midline, squeezing the glutes and the thighs onto the tops of the femur bones. Proud pigeon looks up. And then exhale to walk the hands forward. Try to maintain the engagement through the legs. A few breaths here in pigeon prep. Let yourself shift on to the right side of the body. Bring the left leg forward. And we'll come to our final cool down and Shavasana. You can remove your blankets. And we'll come down to lying on our backs with the feet on the outer edges of the mat. And we'll windshield wiper the knees back and forth. Come back to neutral. Let the knees knock in towards one another in a reconstructive rest pose. Find your breathing, and just as we begin, notice any sensations that you might be feeling in your body. Release the tension of the head and the mind. Release the tension of the spine and the hips, and the pelvis and the legs. Fingertips and toes. Release the tension away from the front of the face, the scalp and the eyelids, eyeballs, the tip of the nose and the tongue and the jaw, and the lips. Gently bring your feet together, and your knees are still together. We'll find a reclined twist. Let your knees gently fall over to the left side. Use your left hand on the top of the thigh to pull the thigh away from the rib cage. Make space here. You can look over your right shoulder to complete the twist if you would like. Inhale brings the knees up towards center. And switch sides, letting the knees lower down to the right side of the body. Bring the right hand to the top of the thigh. And draw the thigh away from the rib cage and the hip point. Maybe look over your left shoulder to complete the twist in the cervical spine. Inhale draws the knees up towards center, and pull your knees in towards your chest, finding Apasana, rocking gently back and forth. Giving yourself a little massage on either side of the spine. And let's find our dead bug pose by lifting the arms and the legs up in the air with as little resistance as possible, like you're stuck in honey. Hold yourself up, but keep everything soft. Gently roll through the wrists and the ankles. Maybe spreading the fingers and toes. Any motions that feel good. We're going to end our last final pose in a heart bench. So using your 2 blocks on the setting that you like. I like the lower one at the medium setting and the upper one at the higher setting. The back of my head is going to go here, and the little tips of my shoulder blades are going to go right here. I'll let the arms come out to the sides, and feet flat, knees bent. The knees can be in reconstructive rest pose, or they could be flat, lying out, whatever feels comfortable for you. I like my knees bent. Let your feet and your hips be heavy, and the natural curve of the low back support the broadness and the opening of the sternum and the heart. So we find ourselves open to receiving, letting go of attachments, maybe some of our plans for the spring, expectations. And being open to receive more, maybe surprises, maybe different ways that we might find ourselves blossoming and blooming unexpectedly. And when the spring continues on and evolves into summer, we can move forward with our hearts open, but with a solid sense of stability and groundedness as we proceed with our adventures. We're going to slowly come out of this with the knees together, roll over onto one side to come off of your heart bench. And then we'll do one additional exercise before Shavasana, laying the block flat on its lowest setting. We're going to find this occipital ridge. I've been talking about breathing space into the back of the neck here, and specifically there is this ridge where the bottom of the skull meets the top of the spine, and that's where we're going to find this edge of the block. And then you can gently roll your head from side to side. This is a great drill for anyone who's ever experienced tension. Very delicious. When you feel ready to remove the block out from under your head and find your favorite way to Shavasana, lying flat on your back. Perhaps a pillow underneath your knees, or maybe you would like to tuck yourself in with a blanket, or maybe you would like an eye pillow over your eyes. Get everything that you will need to lie in a comfortable Shavasana for a few minutes. And usually when we're practicing movement, exercise practices, it's a lot of muscles tensing onto the bones, one muscle engaging while another muscle is stretching. Here in Shavasana, we get to let everything go, including everything we brought with us. And feel the tension through the body just melt into the earth. Maybe we can ask the earth to receive these things that we carry around so that we can be a little lighter when we come back. And for a few minutes, let the mind and the breath and the body be natural. Please stay relaxed as you begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, and bring deeper awareness to your breathing. Please stay relaxed as you begin to bring more intention to your inhales and exhales. As you begin to bring deeper movements to your limbs and joints, maybe stretch the arms out overhead. Rolling over onto your favorite side. In the fetal position, you might use this moment in the fetal position to do what one does in the fetal position, gather yourself. Enjoy a moment of comfort before using your hands to press yourself up to seated. We'll sit together for a moment more with eyes gently closed to finish our practice. Finding a comfortable seat and placing the hands on the thighs. Notice the quality of your posture, the quality of your breathing after about an hour of movement. Connecting the movements of the body to our mind. Say thank you to your body for taking you through this practice, and I thank you for joining me here. Please do let me know what you liked and what you would like to see more of, and please continue to share this practice if you feel called. Bring your hands to your heart center. Please continue to share your gifts with the world. There are so many things that make us uniquely beautiful and uniquely in a position to share and teach others and bolster each other up during these uncertain times, changing times. I'm sending you groundedness and ease and balance and love. Thank you so much for practicing with me.